Alrighty, we good, guys? Yep. Okay, so you know the drill here. Name, how it's spelled, and title.
Yes, my name's Rob Scheer, R-O-B, S-C-H-E-R-E-R. I'm a sergeant with the Phoenix Police Department's Public Affairs Bureau.
Getting right into it, explain a situation we had at a Phoenix mailbox early this morning.
Yes, so originally Phoenix Fire was called out to the scene maybe a little bit after 12:30 this morning, which is routine on a fire. Phoenix PD doesn't roll on those right away unless fire needs our help. Anytime they get to a point where it might be criminal, as in this case arson, they'll contact us to come kind of take over the scene and go from there. Phoenix Fire and Phoenix PD have a really unique relationship on our arson investigations. It's actually called the Phoenix Fire Department's Arson Investigation Task Force, and it's basically just Phoenix PD detectives and arson investigators, basically fire investigators coming together to work those investigations collectively. Two different subsets, two different subject matter experts within a deal to kind of ensure prosecution of this case moves forward. So that task force gets called out in this case, clear that it's most likely arson. They come out, they do kind of what they do. They process the scene, they go through elements of an arson, indicative of where fire started, things of that nature that they'll go through, and then other elements that are common with all investigations, in this case video surveillance. That video surveillance was obtained. That, along with some other leads, led them to a potential suspect, 35-year-old Dieter Klofkorn. Klofkorn has a decent history with Phoenix Police Department and the valley surrounding. Through some of those historical elements, we were able to locate and arrest Klofkorn. Now, at this point, he was arrested for an outstanding arrest warrant that was not related to the arson in any way, shape, or form. However, while in custody, he was interviewed, referenced the arson. During that interview, he admitted to the arson, admitted to lighting a piece of paper, throwing it in the mailbox, and he indicated his reason for doing so was, simply put, to be arrested. He had a desire for that. Why that was his desire, we did not get that far into it. I understand the concern of this, being we're in early voting period with the election. I understand the potential that there was some concern that this was politically motivated or related to the election. We were assured by the suspect this wasn't. He didn't know what was inside the mailbox. He didn't know if there was ballots or any kind of election elements in there at the time, and that was not his goal. This was not politically motivated. This was not related to the election in any way, and that was kind of sealed up through the interview with Klofkorn.
So he had a piece of paper and he lit it on fire. Did he just have like a lighter or what? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, he had a lighter, lit a piece of paper, threw it in the mailbox. And I don't want to be simplistic, but that's really what this was. Again, we understand the concern throughout the day of what this was. There was never at any point the task force or any other investigator involved, there was never any point that led us or any information that led us to believe that this was maybe election related or anything like that. We never got any hint or any detail that told us this might be. Obviously, time frame and the fact that early ballots are going in the mail now, we understand that concern, but there was never any concern really investigator-wise that was the case.
Do you know, is he homeless, where he's from?
I know the arrest took place within the city of Phoenix. I don't have specifics on residents. Usually we don't give that out right away anyway. I don't have specifics on whether he's homeless or not.
Okay. And why can't he be charged yet with the actual arson? Why is he just being held on the warrant?
No, he's now charged. He was booked on the warrant, the outstanding warrant, and then also charged with it's a class 4 felony arson of property.
He made a statement that he wanted to be arrested. Did he say why?
He didn't get specifically into the why of the why. Really, we asked him why, and he said he wanted to be arrested. I don't know specifics of why he wanted to be arrested.
And that other unrelated warrant, what was that about? Do you know?
I don't have specifics on that either. I'm sorry.
Do we know if the mailbox was mostly full or it had been picked up already, or what do we know about what was in it?
So that'll be part of this ongoing investigation. The U.S. Postal Service, along with the task force, will get together, go through what's left over, go through any other elements of mail that was in there, and try to identify potentially where it came from. And then Postal Service will take the lead on doing some of those notifications and whatnot.
No signs this is politically motivated whatsoever. However, we have seen in the Valley, as you know, threats and a lot towards these politically motivated type crimes.
Right.
What's your message for people who might be thinking of something like this?
It's not worth it. I mean, we understand these time frames and this time period can elicit that emotion. Do your part as a U.S. citizen to do your part during this time. But let's not worry about what everybody else does. Do your part individually. Do what you're called to do, what you believe in, and do that. But let's not try to affect or impart your beliefs onto anybody else, especially through crime. It's not going to work out for you. You're going to end up getting arrested. You're going to be held accountable, and that's really the last thing you're going to want during that time this time individually also.
If there were a lot of ballots in that mailbox, what can people do? What do they need to do to rectify that?
Yeah, so obviously early voters all have that option to track their ballots. If you were a person that did drop your ballot or mailed it at this certain location, I'd recommend getting on and trying to track your ballot and really track that down. Obviously, you'll have to go through the recorder's office and other elements like that if it is determined that there was a ballot in there and that was your ballot and that was something that was damaged to where it can't be used now. I'm sure you can go through with this incident, obviously being as high profile as it is, the recorder's office will make sure you get to what you need to do to make sure your vote is counted.
I mean, can you just go to the polls and just vote in person if that was burnt up in a mailbox?
I'm not positive on that. You'll have to go to the recorder's office to go through those rules. I know there's separate rules for early voting, and that time you'd have to go to those websites for that.
Do we have any indication that this was a mental distress situation or anything of that regard? There's some stuff that suggests kind of in his previous history, there's been some Rule 11 motions on his mental capacity. Do we think anything like that played into role here?
When we're going through our criminal investigation, that isn't like something we're trying to identify or not. Obviously, we're trained and we see some of those factors or symptoms that we see that may lead us to believe, hey, something's not right here or something's not right there. Now that he's going to go through the booking process, now it's kind of the sheriff's office will go through some of that, and that's part of the adjudication. Like you said, the Rule 11 hearing, if it is scheduled and something that goes through, the court process will go through that and really identify if there was or is an issue there, then they'll go ahead and handle it at that point.
Anything else you want to add or say?
No. I mean, again, as the Phoenix Police Department, we understand what the potential was and why people and everybody really kind of were heightened over this. We want to make sure everybody knows this was not election related. This was not politically motivated. This was an arson of a mailbox from a person that wanted to be arrested. Good.
For whatever reason. There you go.
Thank you so much.
15 years of investigations, how many times I've